Hey, what's going on, fight fans? It's me, Logan Sama, making my debut here on Esports GG. I'm going to be bringing you coverage and analysis from some of the biggest and most important tournaments on the Street Fighter V competitive calendar this season. We're going to be kicking off with last weekend's Red Bull Kumite, the international invitational event set up by Red Bull, originally in France. Last time round, it made its first stop outside of France in Japan, and this year it makes its debut in London. 15 of the best and most exciting Street Fighter V players were invited to compete with one last chance qualifier. The action went all the way down to a final top 8, and I'm going to be picking out some of my favourite spots from those finals. Whilst many of the pre-tournament favourites from Japan were eliminated and fell by the wayside, it was Bonchan that was the lone representative of the Asian region. In fact, an Asian player has won every single Kumite before this year.
Please give it up, coming from the USA, for Punk!
There was a lot of hype around the pairing of Punk and Mr. Crimson in the top 8 bracket, as they previously exchanged heated words online and even backstage over the weekend. But peace was made, and these two competitors put on an incredible show, especially playing up to the crowd in the intro.
There's some history there, okay? All right, easy. Keep those guys separate.
Crimson took a surprising early lead, with Punk being the heavy favourite for most. He must have inflicted just as much psychological damage as in-game damage from this incredible Dhalsim EX Yoga Fire loop combo. Crimson showed his poise under pressure, countering Punk's signature offensive corner V reversal with his own V shift. Over the weekend, Crimson was one of the most proficient users of the newly added V shift mechanic.
And the pressure from Crimson, look at this.
His offensive pressure was strong all weekend also, utilising teleport mix-ups, airborne yoga gales, and preemptive buttons in neutral to rack up the damage.
Fair point for Crimson.
In the end, it was one of those teleport mix-ups using the ambiguous EX Yoga Fire to land a sizable combo into V-Trigger and cause enough damage that one last hit eliminated Punk from the tournament.
3-1, Mr. Crimson takes it and eliminates Punk from the Red Bull Kumite here in London, 3-1, emphatic fashion, and he pops off.
As we enter the Final Four, for a second year in a row, 3 of the 4 are Western players. And this first of 4 match saw 2 Frenchmen fighting for a place in Grand Finals against reigning Capcom Cup champion IDOM, who had just comprehensively beaten Bonchan in the other semi-final. Crimson started off making some great defensive reads, predicting the former EVO winner Luffy's approach and anticipating Armika's deadly command grabs. But Luffy was committed to bullying his way into Crimson, and a half-screen jump-in managed to arrest some of Crimson's momentum. That momentum swung firmly in Luffy's favour as he continued his aerial approach, whilst also making hard reads on Crimson's defensive options, absolutely clattering his V-shift attempt and finishing him in the corner to level the score.
And it's just a jab.
Luffy took the lead again with a stunning series of reads, crush countering backdash attempts and landing the stun for the win.
We're getting
It doesn't matter. Chance for game.
This sequence shows Luffy almost hypnotise Crimson with a series of jumps which allows him to unleash his signature triple dash across the screen on the ground and land a devastating command grab. However, Luffy's almost superhuman ability to predict his opponent's decisions would eventually run out. Crimson once again uses the V-shift mechanic to the max and punishes heavily and escapes the corner. In this scramble, Luffy unleashes a spaced shooting Peach and immediately follows up with the EX version, but Crimson stays calm and jabs him out of the armor for the round. Again, Luffy tries to make a hard read prediction after blocking Dhalsim's down back medium kick and lets off an EX Peach to beat an expected back medium. But Crimson presses light slide and again Luffy dies due to not having enough health to absorb the one armoured hit. Crimson showed great experience in the matchup with counters to Armika's V-Trigger activation. Shown here, he times 1, 2 attacks and then teleports to safety as Nadeshiko hits nothing but thin air. Here, he interrupts on activation and calmly backs off to safely block Nadeshiko incoming. Then, times his teleport perfectly in reaction to Luffy's dropkick attempt. Here, he instead techs the throw, then teleports and catches Luffy with a counter hit combo whilst simultaneously avoiding Nadeshiko. And then in the final round, he once again reacts to dropkick with teleport to rack up more damage, forcing desperate measures from Luffy. The EX grab is stuffed, and it is a one hit to close out one of the hypest sets of the weekend. You can see the relief and stress in both of these players' faces here. Street Fighter at the highest level will put years on you. Grand Finals time, and it is Mr. Crimson versus Idom. France versus the United States. EU versus NA. Idom's offense this weekend has been absolutely terrifying, especially with Laura. A character that is never truly out, he has made some incredible comebacks utilizing her V-trigger and her terrifying offensive pressure. Here you see Idom going up against Capcom Cup 2018 champion Gachikun and making light work of his Rashid here. And then in one of the comebacks of the tournament, Idom causes Bolt Strikes Vega to crack, making the hard read with the forward hard punch, chasing down the V-ship escape attempt for the stun, and an incredible comeback completed. Whilst Mr. Crimson himself previously mained Laura, in fact winning the first ever Street Fighter V Capcom Pro Tour event in 2016 with the character, and can benefit from training alongside compatriot Leo in the matchup, you would have to say that the matchup experience lays in favour of Idom, with one of the very best Dalsims in the world competing in New York's NLBC tournament, Arturo Sanchez. Idom must have ground out this matchup to a level of mastery that surely it would be impossible for Mr. Crimson to overcome. Mr. Crimson's masterful use of V-Shift in the first game, both as an evasive and counter-attacking tool, remains incredibly impressive. But his active defense, interrupting with crouching light punch, was effective all weekend. The 4-frame attack is not strong on the surface, but linking into Yoga Flame for a knockdown on counter hit is massive for Sim. In this second game, again, Crimson interrupts stolen frames from this EX grab attempt post Laura's Sunset Wheel and activates into V-Trigger. He checks another dash into critical art for the round. Here's another example where Laura's terrifying V-trigger pressure is calmly interrupted by a counter-hit light punch into knockdown, and Sim can turn the tables and open her up with a big frame trap into his own V-trigger to take the round. A change of scenery this time, but the same old story as the light into the flame again kicks off Sim's offense. This absolutely sick reaction critical art to the V reversal was unfortunately not enough to close out the round. Idom took to another strategy utilizing Laura's jump light kick that not only crosses up but also is very difficult for Sim to evade using his slide. Whilst we've been focusing heavily on Mr. Crimson's defensive strategies, his offense is just as deadly. The teleport mix-up completely stuffing Idom's escape attempt, and he goes down in flames. And here, just a normal Yoga Fire and teleport is enough to get the job done. Whilst an execution error allows Idom to start making a comeback, that instant air Yoga Gale knockdown allows the teleport setup to close it out, and we are going to a final game. It's only fitting that this tournament were to go down to last set, last game, last round. Mr. Crimson channeling the home crowd here. We're going to let this final round play out in full so you can see exactly how this tournament culminated. Mr. Crimson again poking away with normals, waiting for that knockdown and utilizing the teleport so that he can get his offense running. Patience though from Idom as he dashes behind a normal and starts to get his offense going. That V reversal is going to be very important. That trade conversion, incredible from Idom, so ready. There you see, he baited that V reversal out previously, his own whiffs, and again the knockdown allows the teleport setup, and Mr. Crimson closes it out to become the first ever Western champion of Red Bull Kumite, taking it home for France.
playing absolutely out of his mind. Mr. Crimson took beating after beating on his way to this Red Bull Kumite, downloading data, developing the
Massive congratulations to Crimson on his well-deserved victory. The Red Bull Kumite was born in France, invented and created in France. How fitting is it that that trophy is now returning to France in the hands of Mr. Crimson? A huge congratulations not only to him but also the French Street Fighter community, which is so passionate, specifically in Crimson's hometown of Lyon. However, that was not all for this weekend, because whilst there was no Kumite in 2020, we were gifted this teaser announcement for a future event.
I'll be back, all right?
That's right, it looks like Kumite is traveling to the United States sometime this year. That information has not been confirmed, but it was heavily intimated with more details to follow. So make sure you keep it locked right here to esports.gg and we'll bring you news as and when it happens. Lots more exciting events to come this season on the Capcom Pro Tour and for Street Fighter V in general. I'll be here giving you my insight and analysis. I'll see you next time round.